Okay, we have a big week ahead. We have Jupiter retrograde, Venus retrograde, and Saturn retrograde all in one week. So let's start with Saturn. Saturn goes retrograde tomorrow until September. So Saturn is the Lord of Karma, and he is connected to the karmic lessons that we all need to experience in order to grow. So during the retrograde period, we tend to work through our karma more. We may be faced with some situations where resolving it will really help us to grow. And on the other hand, we may get some good karma, some good things coming to us because we've done our self work, we've treated other people kindly, and we have lived our lives with honor. So depending on what way that you've lived your life, it shouldn't be a really difficult period. Um, so yeah, it can be, you know, everyone fears Saturn, but Saturn is maturity and growth. It's not all, it's not fun and partying and the good times, but we need Saturn in order to mature and have wisdom. So yeah, that's going to be retrograde until September. It's also going to make things feel like we're going in slow motion. So when a number of different planets are retrograde at once, time seems to slow down, and we seem to go through this period where everything just quietens down, the external world quietens down, there's not much going on. And a part of this is to do with all of this corona COVID-19 stuff where everyone's in lockdowns, and those have been lifted. I think in certain places have been starting to go a little easier there, but in the UK we're still in the same place here. The Prime Minister is supposedly addressing the nation, I don't know, today or this week sometime, so we'll hear what his plan is. I don't think there's going to be any huge dramatic change this week, but we will see. So yeah, being stuck, not necessarily a bad energy, just that, oh, just floaty, and you're at home more, and there's just not a lot of activity in your life. So on the same day that Saturn goes retrograde, we have a Mercury and Mars square. When Mercury squares Mars, Mercury is the planet of communication, and when it's in conflict with the god of war, you may find yourself like involved with a little argument with someone. There may be some cross words. So don't sweat it too much. This is a short transit, so it shouldn't last for too long. Maybe if there's something that you wanted to get off your chest, it will happen tomorrow. But just try and use some nice language and don't lose your temper. So also on the same day, Mercury goes into Gemini, and Mercury is at home in Gemini. So we find ourselves with many different interests. We want to research more. You want to kind of pore over small pieces of information and a lot of different facts rather than lengthy research. You may find that your attention span is a little bit shorter through this transit because Mercury and Gemini can be quite easily distracted. I have this in my birth chart. I was born when Mercury was in Gemini, so it's going to be my Mercury return. So you don't only have a Saturn return, you can have a Venus return, a Mercury return, a Mars return. So those are all quite significant. So anyone else that was born with Mercury and Gemini will also be experiencing this. So yeah, Mercury and Gemini is quite a pleasant transit. Like I said, the energy of Mercury is very well expressed here. You may be using social media more. You'll be talking to your neighbors more, your siblings. So not a bad thing at all. The day after, on the 12th, Mercury makes a trine to Saturn. Again, this isn't a big transit. It's just a very short-term thing. So that's quite a positive transit. If you have any important conversations, you could save them for that day on the 12th because they will be received well. So on the 13th of May, Mars enters Pisces, and Mars is not happy in Pisces because Mars is the planet of action, of energy, drive, war, ambitions, and Pisces is just a little bit too watery there. So your life can lack direction during this transit, or you're not quite sure where to pour your energy, what to put your energy into and where to direct it. So the overall theme of this week is that things are going to slow down, and you're supposed to be slowing down. You're not meant to be taking a lot of action this week. So just, try and chill, do some more things at home. I know that this is what the last few months have been like, but try and do that for a little longer because the planets are they're encouraging you to do that now. So also on the 13th, this is another big one. Venus goes retrograde and in Gemini. So Venus retrograde, expect to see people from the past, ex-lovers, ex-partners, ex-friends, ex any kind of female that was once a part of your life many years ago could resurface. Sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes that's not a good thing at all. So use your discernment. If an ex that you broke up with horribly like a year ago or 6 years ago contacts you, probably not the best idea to resume your relationship or whatever it was that you had with them. Try and avoid large purchases during Venus retrograde because you may find that once the planet goes direct, you will not want it, or there's something wrong with it. So don't go and spend all of your money on like a life-sized statue of a tiger made out of emeralds or anything like that. That sounds lovely. I actually would like that, but you may find that your finances will suffer. So also on the 14th, Jupiter goes retrograde. Jupiter is the planet of good fortunes, expansion. It's called the Great Benefic. It's a very spiritual planet. It helps us to see the bigger picture. And actually, it's not such a bad thing that Saturn and Jupiter are joining Pluto in their retrograde motion because these planets kind of triggered this COVID-19 crisis. They triggered this, the quarantine. So again, I do expect to see that um, the rules are kind of they're less restrictive, hopefully. So when Jupiter goes retrograde, again, there's that feeling of, oh, okay, so there's not much going on externally. What should I do? It's the time to reflect inwards, reflect on your spiritual values, reflect on what it is that makes you feel really good. What do you want to build for the future? Well, maybe you have to take a rain check on some things right now that you were planning on doing because of the financial climate, but that's okay. It can just be a rain check. Just continue to get your details down and work out all of the little small things that you need in order to make this a success later on in the year. On the 15th, we have two nice aspects actually: Sun trine Pluto and Mercury in sextile to Chiron. Relationships with your father or any prominent male figures in your life, your husband, your boyfriend, your brother, they should be going well on this day. It's a good time to connect with them. Mercury sextile Chiron, it's a really good day for some just loving, healing conversations. It's good for writing, it's good for any kind of communication. And finally, the last aspect that we have this week is that the Sun is in trine to Jupiter on the 17th. Another great aspect. Sun trine Jupiter is a very lucky aspect. Although Jupiter will be retrograde at this time, it doesn't really matter. There's going to be so yes, you can go and try your luck in the lottery. You'll be feeling good that day. So overall, there are some quite big things happening this week, but it's not like explosive out of the blue, pianos falling from the sky. It's just with all of those planets retrograde, things are going to be slowing down. In the warmer weather, we're just going to be feeling more relaxed and more chilled. And that's exactly how it's supposed to be this week.
That sounds like a good week, and I know that I've definitely been seeing karma become more relevant recently. If you just looking at the world and also looking at individuals, like looking at my own life, it seems like this is some astrological aspects that really support that because I'm seeing ancestral and personal karma, national karma. I mean, if you think about the whole corona thing going on, we're definitely seeing a lot of national karma. I mean, I think here in the states, states are starting to rethink some of their governors, because some states here are getting back to business as usual. They're beginning to, especially this week. They started last week. Some even started the first of this month. But some states are moving forward quickly, and some literally seem to have indefinite shutdown. That's what their governor wants, and people are starting to wonder who runs my state. It appears that the globalists do. Like I look at Tesla wants to move their electric car plant from California to Texas or Nevada or Arizona, that are basically way more free states that are opening back up. And so I think we're going to see in all around the world a rearranging, a new relationship people get with their governments, and be they local, be they national. People are starting to, through this experience, see what their government hierarchy was really about. Does it support them or does it not? And a lot of petty tyrants like we have here in this country. Some of the governors are definitely petty tyrants, and also we're seeing. I'm not sure if we call this karma or not, but that I think might match some of these alignments is people who've never seen censorship before are seeing it. Like I think you and I and many that we know are aware of censorship. We go, well, of course there's censorship, and you're a little bit closer to it. You've seen it, but there's so many people now that are seeing censorship for the first time, especially when it comes to the COVID stuff, because they're going, wait a second, what? This video was taken down? Oh, why is that? I've never gone to a video that was taken down before. So, a lot of awareness along those lines. And you mentioned the past showing up. The past showing up is always weird. Whenever that's going to happen, I always kind of worry. I go, "Oh my gosh, is my past going to show up?" But but that's almost like a bad habit I realized from the past, because after a while, if you're honest with yourself on your own path, and you're honest and open with those in your fellowship, those in your life, then and your life is clean, I guess, as they say, like your house is clean, then what do you care if the past shows up? You know,
Yeah.
oh, hi there,
Yeah.
past. Oh, how you doing? you know,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's going to happen more for some people than others because, quite frankly, if you have really tight boundaries, you're not going to have a lot of hangers on from like years ago suddenly approach you. If you have good boundaries and you dealt with those people effectively in the past, then they're not going to come back again.
Yeah, it's very true. And so that is a good measurement people can do. If when these astrological alignments happen and the past might show up to say hi, if it makes you unsettled, well, realize you're probably wandering around with a lot of unsettled issues. It does tend to be the case that we might be done with the past, but it's not always done with us. So, the quicker we get our house clean in life, then we don't care if the past shows up, because oftentimes you think, wow, I don't have any past to show up anymore. Then you go, oh, I forgot about that one. you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but since I'm living clean and my life is honest and the house is clean, all is good, I don't care. Hi there, past. Well, it's nice seeing you again. I never liked you very much, so just go away. And
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess like maybe 5, 6 years ago, I frequently used to have people that kind of tried to reconnect during Mercury retrogrades and Venus retrogrades, but now it almost never happens because I've changed so much and I've worked on myself so much since then that nothing about me will resonate with those people anymore.
Definitely. You don't really have any lingering energy that connects to that past anymore. So
Yeah.
it just stops showing up. So, um, and of course, people showing up from the past can be positive. So maybe it's good. Yeah, once your house
Yeah.
is clean, you don't care whether it's positive or negative. Like, oh, hey, past, nice to see you. Well, when it comes to cosmic weather for this coming week, and I think something I've definitely been noticing, and I know you had some things you wanted to mention, but something I'll just mention really quick, is a great meme that I saw on the internet, of course, because this is like 2020 will be the year of memes, I think. But it was simply that you cannot talk butterfly language with caterpillar people. And I love that because we tend to use the terms normies and sheeple and things like that, and I don't think they're really productive. And I love that line, just you cannot talk butterfly language with caterpillar people. And it makes a lot of sense because there's a metamorphosis that many of us have gone through. And of course, we probably go through many in our lifetime, but there's metamorphosis you've gone through where you're not who you used to be. And you're kind of hanging out with this fellowship of people, and you're on your evolutionary path, and it's definitely not the same as most people. And in reading that line, it's going to help me realize in this time where we have some people who were like, let's just get back to life. This was all a big scam. We figured it out by now because they had those natural instincts and intuition, and they look at many sources, and they're just aware, and they have a fellowship that is aware around them, and they go, okay, this was all a scam. Time to get back to work. Let's get back to life. Let's not let the globalists win this thing. And then you have people who are, they are enjoying the death cult, basically, as Thomas Sheridan puts it, and they're not going to give up their new religion, and it will always be too soon for them. So while we have some people who are alive and vibrant, we have some that are still marred in fear, and then we also have some that are just, they love the totalitarian slave state that this might offer. So it's a really good time to just focus on your own fellowship, your own vibes, creating what you want, and realize that maybe for those who aren't on the same frequency, it's a lower frequency, whether it's just they're fearful because they're not aware, or whether they just love a totalitarian slave state, realize that that's a caterpillar and like you're a butterfly, which might seem somewhat egotistical, but you really don't speak the same language. You completely disintegrated your caterpillar self. It's not there anymore. You're a different order of being. I probably sound very, very high and mighty, I guess. But part of it is you just got to own that and realize, hey, you're supposed to be hanging out with butterflies, flying with eagles. Don't just block the people that piss you off and realize that they'll create the reality that they want. And just like always on this earth, there's heaven and there's hell happening at the same time, and you can have a vibrant, amazing life with your fellow butterflies and eagles, and you can soar and thrive, and just realize that you don't need to be attached to the evolutionary path of those who, they're never going to have it. They're not capable for whatever reason. And that was my kind of cosmic weather for the week that I was feeling.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Um, I think the polarization is just so strong now that it kind of hurts us and it does us harm to really try and force friendships or relationships with people that they're just not on the same page anymore. They're, the normies or whatever. So we're being our butterfly selves, and you're right, they're on a totally different frequency and different energy. So sometimes it is just a healthy bit of self-care to take a step away from those people that are trying to drag you down into that negative place of fear. So I totally agree with you on that one.
Yeah, it seems to be a pretty common theme. It's just good to remember. I guess it's good to have that empathy and compassion, and just realize that there's multiple evolutionary paths on this planet, and groups of people that belong to them, and just focus on your own. Really, there's no the energy of, I don't know. There's just tend your own garden. Tend your own
Yes.
garden.
Yes, yes, yes.
Because there's tons of fear out there, and there's tons of, there's endless stuff that you can look at to get hung up on, and it's good to see it and be aware of it. But like, I would just say there is such a shitstorm, a multidimensional shitstorm going on right now. Let it settle. You know what I mean? Just let it settle. You don't have to get into it, because really, I have no idea what the next month is going to hold for this planet, really. So it doesn't help. Getting caught in that turbulence doesn't really help me create my ends, the world that I want to live in. Because regardless of what happens in the next month or the rest of my life, basically, I can thrive and have a joyous life. And these kind of events are designed by the forces that be the globalists, I'll call them the empire, to knock you out of that energy. So you start playing their game, you know, and like Abraham Hicks says. One person connected to source is more powerful than a million that are not. So what are you worried about? What's going on out there? Stop it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very healthy approach. Worry about yourself, worry about your family and everyone else. Just don't even give them a second thought, especially what their political beliefs are, you know. There's nothing more energetically draining than like constantly arguing with people because their political beliefs or whatever just don't match yours. Like, who cares? So, yes, onto the tarot part of our podcast. I actually have got four cards this week because I was shuffling earlier and one of them flew right out of the deck. So the cards that we have are the Nine of Cups, the Two of Wands, the Hanged Man, and the Three of Cups. So overall, with all of these cards together, again, it kind of reflects the astrology, which they always do. The Hanged Man is about a sacrifice or a delay and something that takes a long time to manifest. The Nine of Cups is a card of wish fulfillment. It's about getting something that you really hoped for and that you've worked for. So with the Nine of Cups, it's guaranteed that you will get something big that you've kind of been working on. The Two of Wands is a new relationship or a new project. So it could be a business partner or a new business that you want to get started, a new podcast, a new piece of work, maybe even a new topic that you want to learn or study, a new skill that you want to master. So then the last card is the Three of Cups, which would be your friends, your female friends. It's also a card of celebration and of things finally going right, raising your glass with your friends and saying, "We did it." So these cards are very positive. The only well, not negative, but the Hanged Man is putting a delay on all of these things. But these cards are saying that whatever it is that you want, those ideas that you've been jotting down in your notepad, and that job that you've been working on, that business that you want to create, you will get that. You're going to get that, but there may be a delay. So, yeah, exactly like the astrology, Jupiter retrograde and Venus retrograde. It's just about things kind of slowing down and maybe not quite getting there as fast as you would like. But boy, is there going to be cause for celebration and on down the line. So if you've been panicking or worrying and it seems like the piano has fallen from the sky and it's stopping you from manifesting this dream, please don't do that because it is coming. You just have to keep the faith, but it's going to come.
Yeah, and definitely during this time of global craziness, if you can keep that positive manifesting vision going and you can create right now, then you're ahead of the game. This is definitely a good test. So it's quiet, it's retrograde, it's slowing us down, and just focus even harder. Because really, I do agree. I can feel that in the air. That by the end of this week, I think we're going to see some people will be pleasantly surprised. I think keep focusing on those desires and those dreams and what you want to create. I think the end of this week is going to be a good renaissance for people. I do think there's going to be I think the payoff is at hand.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I agree. And there's going to be. Okay, yes, we already know that a lot of small businesses are going to end up closing. Let's face it, like it would be pretty silly of us not to know that that's going to happen. But where something ends, there is an opportunity for a new beginning. And I know some people that are really skilled in business, the type of people they always have like two or three businesses going at once and they're really successful. Well, I know that they are planning and setting up businesses as we speak to take advantage of this new kind of energy that we're kind of going into. So there is a space there that's full of opportunity and ripe with fruit for those who are willing to put in the work.
Oh, definitely. And if a person can keep their energy high and positive at this time, that's when those opportunities will just naturally unfold. They'll just happen. You know, really, that's like my like my well, one of the best business plans you can have right now is stay positive. And what's your vision? What do you want to create? And focus on it, and ignore the craziness. Because yeah, we are in a time of an upheaval of opportunity. So it's there, and sometimes I'd recommend people don't worry so much on exactly how. Just know you want it. Just be open to it. Feel it, and feel being a positive part of a new evolution in business, in society, and those pieces will line up for you.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, and that that creative spark that that great businesses are born from, that's a very male or yang type of energy, and collectively all of us in the west are suffering from a yang deficiency. So in traditional Chinese medicine, you have the yang and the yin. So yang is that assertive male energy, it's solar, it's protective, and the yin is female, it's receptive, it's nurturing, and it's emotional. So when we eat too many yin or kind of female foods, we don't get enough sunlight, we become too yin. We become this nation of snowflakes that will compromise um, their freedom for some temporary security, get offended by everything, not protect not protect the weaker people in our society. They're too afraid to take risks. So I've been thinking about this a lot because I live in Ireland, and it's always damp here, it's always humid, and there are a lot of people here that suffer from like damp related illnesses, like phlegm, sinus issues, yeast issues, candida. But no one ever talks about the fact that you can eat a lot of foods to correct that. And I think Thomas Sheridan mentioned this too, but I'm seeing like uprisings all over the world, people protesting in the streets about these quarantines and lockdowns. And there's hardly been any of that in Ireland. And like, it's just saddened me so much because we're descended from the Vikings. We're descended from these fierce warriors. And what's happened to us? We've all become too yin because it's so damp. We don't get any sunlight. And something that I've been thinking about this week is, our ways to correct that. So people that live in these damp countries, they need to eat more yang foods to get that creative spark in them, to get the adrenaline going. So yang foods are hot foods. We should never eat any cold foods living in a wet climate. And people love to eat sushi and cold sandwiches and drink cold drinks, and we just shouldn't be doing it. Your body needs warmth and nourishment, ginger, spices, root vegetables, and meat. Yeah, like it or not, meat is one of the most healthy foods for you if you live in a climate like Ireland or anywhere in the British Isles. So we need to remedy this lack of positive male energy because it really saddens me just how complacent the average person has become over here. I mean, I'm sure it's different where you are, Craig, in Arizona because you get so much sun.
Yeah, we have no lack of sun here, and it's funny. It's kind of the opposite. We're so the opposite of almost like the rest of the world, unless you're talking about the Sahara Desert, maybe. But we like right now, it's getting to be 100 degrees every day, at least touching it, and then soon it'll be over 100 degrees every day. And so now that summer is here, you start like struggling to eat. You're like, if you can have like a boiled egg and a carrot, because the heat just it just takes your appetite away completely. So it's very strange here. But oh no, I noticed that when I lived in Seattle, which was kind of a rainy, damp place, was that it was very, 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 very yin, extremely. And there's a lot of ways that people can cultivate their yang energy. And I mean, there was a podcast we did. We interviewed Primitive Ways recently, and we kind of went through a bunch of different practices to just be more powerful. You know, some of those like the Wim Hof breathing, definitely eating meat. I know some people don't like to do that, but especially organ meat, and you can take that as a dehydrated supplement if you want. Some people are just never going to eat organ meat. I don't really like it a whole lot, but I know it has a benefit. And so, yeah, and especially for men, I'm sure women too, but a great way to get that yang energy going is exercise, but especially lifting metal. If you machines are great, but lift the metal weights. It really will.
Mm.
It really will get the yang energy flowing. Metal. And so, each has to find their own practice, but definitely, I also noticed something that while you were talking that this has got to be the case. Aren't wearing masks a very yin thing to do? You think about it, because
Yes.
it's very, very yin, and it hides your identity. It makes you an NPC. It just there you delete your identity and you become very, very yin. It really makes the society very, very dulcet. I mean, people that you see wearing masks look weak, and they also, since it cuts down the oxygen, makes it harder to breathe. They actually become physically weak. Their immune system becomes weak. So don't put on the yin mask. Well, not medical advice. I'm a psycho. Don't listen to me, people. But just saying that mask can very well be that is your yin patch, really, your yin mask.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And actually, one of the best remedies for yang deficiency is the dandelion, which is growing in abundance literally everywhere right now. But what do people do? They cut them down. So the whole plant can be used, but especially the root. So, I mean, you can go and dig up the roots and you can roast them in the oven and you can make really delicious dandelion root coffee. I mean, I love coffee. I'm a coffee snob, but I really enjoy dandelion coffee. And if you don't want to do that, you can buy them, like you can bulk buy them on eBay or whatever. But yeah, try dandelion root if you're feeling, if you have like fungal issues or and you're feeling really emotional and you kind of lack any sort of motivation, start drinking dandelions and eat ginger in your food. If you don't want to eat meat, you can eat eggs or you can eat root vegetables with garlic and onions and things like that. So I've been working on raising my yang energy now for about a week and I feel so much better. It's incredible. Literally such a huge difference in a week. And if everyone did that, we'd be living in a totally different nation.
Oh yeah, because it's definitely a time for some stronger yang energy. Well, yeah, and you mentioned people protesting all over the world. I was looking at protests in Germany, and I was like, yes, because I'm mostly German. I'm like, yes, my people are alive again. Because I mean, it's like, hey, governments, you better be careful. You're messing with the people whose like Germanic history is peace is hell. Like so.
Yeah.
Better be careful. Um, and I definitely am seeing. Especially in Germany, many, many countries. I look at the thousands of people that are protesting in front of capitals, and I'm really, really amazed. I'm really, really amazed that it's happening. Well, definitely with dandelions, it's funny because we've been cultivating dandelions here, and we're going to do a recipe for a dandelion flour shortbread, and we're actually going to go next week and dig up some roots and such like that because it is amazing how nature, being intelligent, we're part of nature. It gives us what we need, and nature rains dandelions on people almost no matter where you are, and that should be telling. And it is amazing. People kill them, and I always think, oh my gosh, I don't want a yard full of grass. Give me a yard full of dandelion greens. That's what I want.
Yes, yes, yes. They're delicious if you just gently stir fry them with a little bit of garlic and some salt and pepper. Absolutely delicious.
Yeah, and if you do go wild harvesting dandelion greens, be careful What I mean by that is eat some and get a feel for it, because like wild dandelion, root, greens, flower, etc., you might be surprised at the energy that food has, and it can give you a little bit of discomfort until you get used to it, because it is, a wild food, and dandelions, they are packed with the yang superpower. So tread lightly at first. you know.
Yeah, yeah. You might want to warn your partner as well that if you start to eat a lot of dandelions, that your sex drive will suddenly get a lot stronger.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and it's a very nice thing to share in the evening. A cup of dandelion root tea. Makes for a good evening.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And
Yeah.
the other thing is that nettles, singing nettles, they're growing in abundance here, and they are so good at purifying the blood. They're so good for your liver. And I think you saw the picture I just posted on my Facebook, but I made a massive pot of nettle soup. My husband and I had 3 bowls each, and it was absolutely delicious.
That sounds amazing. I've only had it a few times, and it is truly amazing. Yeah. We kind of had a yang overload earlier. I haven't taken niacin for a long time, and it's really good for getting the blood flow. I'm not sure if I'd call it a yang thing or not, but it feels very yang. And so I took 500 milligrams of niacin, and I turned into like a bright red tomato, and I kind of felt like I was a pincushion. I was like, oh my god! But I tell you what, the yang was flowing. I mean, woo! Yeah, I guess there's never too much yang, but it can feel like it sometimes. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
is there anything else we want to cover before we go?
I don't think so. I think that we've covered it. Just everyone take care and don't forget to boost your yang energy. So it may be a bit of an odd week with all of these planets going retrograde. There may be some karmic situations that come up from the past, so you can deal with them properly this time. But I hope everyone has an awesome week, and I look forward to the next show.
Yeah, everybody have a good, powerful, yang filled week. This is for the week of May 11th. That's Monday. Everybody be powerful. Hang in there. It's a crazy time. I think we're getting to the end of it. And we will talk to you all again next week. Bye bye.
Bye.